most welcome back to Beyond the Sky podcast. It is your host, Nathali Kabongo, and today I have a brand new story to tell you guys. A brand new horror story at that, in which is very true. The story is happening in Africa, specifically in Gabon, so let's get started. Caleb was a young man who was always at university during the day, but as a part-time job, he would be a taxi man. So every single night, he would be parking at near the city or near clubs where he knows that clients would need his services. So he would park there and he will make extra cash that is able to sustain him while he goes to university. One interesting night, Caleb got into his car and prepared to go near the club and to wait for any clients that needed his service. Interestingly and unfortunately enough, Caleb actually lives near a cemetery. So as he was passing by the cemetery, for the first time ever, he felt a very weird chill, like a really cold sensation at the back of his neck, and he didn't like that sensation. He couldn't explain why he was feeling that way. He couldn't explain why this was coming to him, but he knew and understood that he shouldn't be focusing too much on it. He had a job to do. So Caleb just continued down the road and he made it to his famous club where he makes a lot of money because he gets a lot of clients. In the first 10 minutes, as he was just waiting, he looked across the street where he saw a man that was standing there. This man was standing there using his phone, and as this man was using his phone, Caleb started to feel the same chill that he felt near the cemetery. Caleb described that this man, his face was very odd. He couldn't explain why, but he didn't like how his face looked. Caleb didn't want to pay more attention to this man, so he turned his focus and started to gaze at the club that was raging, and there was a lot of women and men coming in and going out, people having fun, and people just drowning their life away. 4 minutes after, Caleb hears a knock at his window, and so he turns his head and boom, in front of his window, it's the man that was across the street. He smiles at Caleb and signals Caleb to put his window down. So Caleb, he put his window down and he looked at the man and asked his famous question. "Hello, I'm Caleb. I do taxi services. Are you interested, or do you want me to drop you off?" And the man smiled even wider and said, "Yes, I need you to drop me off at this specific neighborhood." And Caleb said, "Nope, that's not a problem. It's not too far from here. Just go in the back and I will drop you off." So as the man entered the car, Caleb started to smell a weird smell. It was as if the garbage entered his car. It smelled really weird but also bad, but it wasn't extremely bad, but it was not smelling too good. Caleb ignored it. He said it's simply a client. His neighborhood is literally right across the street, so I will not panic, and I know that I will drop him off and he will go. So as Caleb and this mysterious man, they're in the car driving to his neighborhood, Caleb and this man start to talk about life, about politics, about women, about jobs, and many, many more. And as they're arriving to this neighborhood, he looks back at the man and tells him, "Listen, we're now at your neighborhood. Just tap on my shoulder where you want to be dropped off, and I'll stop the car and you will go." But the more Caleb drove, the more they were leaving the neighborhood. And Caleb didn't like this because he was a bit irritated. He's like, "Listen, I am dropping him off at his neighborhood, but he is not signaling me where to drop him off exactly." So Caleb was just a bit irritated. So at the end of the neighborhood, when he realized that they actually left the neighborhood, Caleb decided to stop the car and he asked the man again, "Where am I supposed to drop you off?" Weirdly enough, this man did not answer. Caleb opened his door and went to the back to open the door and to kick his clients out. But as he went to the back, there was no one there. Caleb freaked out at what happened. He quickly went inside his car and drove back home, took a warm shower, and went to sleep. Ever since that night, Caleb never experienced anything paranormal, or he never experienced anything that creepy again. But Caleb now starts to realize that what he picked up was not a human, but it was a deceased person. It was a person that came back to enjoy the club life and to go back to its grave. And in Africa, there's a lot of stories like this where people, sometimes they don't realize that they're dead. And so they come back and they pretend as if they're human and they live life and then they go back to their grave. This is a story that is factual, and it is honestly a story that's really interesting to know. But honestly, what do you guys think, my angels? Do you think this is a true story? Well, what would you have done if you were in Caleb's position? Have a blessed day or night, everyone. Bye-bye.